It's Dino, co-owner LA Lounge, 2521 West Manchester Boulevard, Inglewood, California. I'd like to welcome you guys to the Flyy Trap, a platform where we highlight black excellence and celebrate our local progressors as they change the mindset and the economical plight of our surroundings. And I just want to let you guys know how we roll around here at LA Lounge. Us being owners and our members, we operate by a creed. And that creed is to gather a group of like-minded individuals that's dedicated to loyalty, commitment, respect, and unification with the mindset of economical progression for the ultimate goal of building our community. That's how we roll around here at LA Lounge. But it all starts off with something that we come to love. Those are cigars. You know what I'm saying? That's some things that we actually institute in our lives as far as smoking, because we love it and we come to love it that we do it every day. But folks, man, I have a great panel lined up for you guys today. Our first segment gonna be with two great gentlemen, members of the LA Lounge, you know what I'm saying, who I come to love by seeing them every day, and their stories are impeccable. But the thing about it is, one of the things that we're doing down here at LA Lounge is we're actually trying to we're reinstituting what we call Black Wall Street. I know a lot of people probably know what happened with Black Wall Street. Well, back in the 1920s, what happened was there was a black community that progressed economically because of Jim Crow laws. They had 108 businesses, you know what I'm saying, all black owned, 2 schools, you know what I'm saying, 5 doctor's offices. They actually operated as a great money cycling community. And before we get into this, I talk about the things that I'm going to talk about with some of my people that's on the panel right now. One of these guys that's going to be on the panel, that is on the panel, is a football great, ex-NFL player. But really, where he really made his impact was in the NCAA. There would be no Cam Newtons. There would be no Odell Beckhams. There would be no Mark Ingrams if the Most High didn't bless this man with a talent, you know what I'm saying, to go down in Alabama and show him that we could do some things that they couldn't do. And without further ado, I'd like to introduce you guys to Sam the Bam Cunningham.
Dino, thank you. It's honor and a pleasure to be a member, part of the family. You had me sign a jersey the other day, and I signed it to LA Lounge, home away from home.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then that's what this is. You come in here, everybody knows everybody says hello to everybody shakes hands. They get away from there every day. Whatever's going on now. You know, I always was curious when everybody started smoking cigars.
I think I started when I was about 2.
Okay. I started when I was driving cross country from Boston to California, and it just relaxed me as I was driving. And I didn't smoke a lot of them, but I smoked them. And then my dad smoked them too. So, I used to watch him. Right. You want to do everything your daddy do.
Yeah. So you learned how to do it the cool way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
At the beginning. But anyway, yeah, it's definitely an honor and a pleasure for me to be here and be here with men that know a little bit of my history. There's many different generations and age groups in this room or in this building, and some know, some don't, and I'm really not going to tell you, so it just kind of happens. Somebody else tells the story, and I enjoy somebody else telling the story because they tell it way better than me. Right. I just tell it and go on about my business, but they put a little sauce on it and dress it up. Yeah, from a fan or not a fan. Right. Which is fine too. You know what I mean? So. I know we're gonna touch on some things tonight, and just ask me, and I'll answer the best I can.
Sound like a winner. Our next guest, you guys know again from some of his antics that's on Facebook, and I love to quote it every time. Wake your ass up! It's Friday. You know what I'm saying? Mr. Darren Hendon is also our co-chair down here at LA Lounge, a great member, a great brother to spend time with all the time. I'm gonna let you tell him a little bit about your story again, Darren, you know what I'm saying, and what LA Lounge means to you. And first of all, what you smoking, man?
You know, I'm actually smoking a Rich P, and I figured I would make him proud by smoking a Rich P. Now, I do have my own labeled cigar, the Lejeune, but they're sold out right now. So that's a good thing. That's a good thing. So my brother Rich P, I'm trying his smoke. I like it. It's smooth, and but what I've actually learned about smoking cigars and meeting is about the relationships. You know, it's really not about the cigars. You know, and so this is like a home away from home. It's like my timeshare. I call it my timeshare, you know. And if there is some answers that I don't have, all I have to do without worried about judgment is share what's going on with me, and I'll get some positive feedback, you know. And you know, it's great to be in the company of men who have no shame, you know, in saying where they've come from, you know, and where they want to go, and it inspired me, you know, just in this very spot, you know. I've been working with veterans, you know. I'm a former homeless veteran myself, so I've dedicated the past 15 to 20 years of helping, you know, my fellow vets, you know, and improve the quality of their life. And I had a situation where, you know, I finally got that position, you know, and as I was going through the interviewing process, I was sharing it with the brothers, you know, the Bible study, and they was, you know, supportive, and I was kind of complaining about the interviewing process, and I got the job. And about, you know, and so everybody was like, yeah, you know what I mean, we knew you could do it, just had the faith, you know. And about 3 months later, the executive director who hired me resigned. And 2 weeks later, they laid me off. And I decided then that I wasn't going to get laid off no more, that I was going to get my own contracts. And a year and a half later, I have a 16-unit complex filled with veterans with a waiting list. You know, you know. So, and it's, you know, due to the support of the family. And that's what I'm gonna call it. What it is, the family of the brothers and sisters, you know, here of LA Lounge. So, but to be in the company of this man, you know, Sam Bam Cunningham, you know, and you know what's so cool, you know, of knowing, you know, looking at your heroes, you know, on TV and interviews and everything, and then to be rubbing shoulders with them, and to see the human aspect that they are human and brothers, black men just like you, who see you no better, no less. And you know, it's just good to be in that presence, because I believe that the energy that you bring into the universe, you know, it transmits by osmosis. You know, so whoever you surround yourself with, you know what I mean, whether it's, you know, in greatness in any aspect, you know what I mean. That's right, you know. So I'm just grateful to be a part of LA Lounge, and I hope to be an asset rather than a liability.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, that's how we roll down here, man. Camaraderie, unification, love amongst each other that we don't see commonly, you know, especially on TV, on media outlets, because they're always pitting us against each other. But what we're talking about, like I said, getting back to what we're doing down here at LA Lounge, is that camaraderie, coming together, also learning how to recycle that dollar in our community so that our things can grow. Well, Sam, I'm asking you about as far as the sports thing, you know what I'm saying? Because like I said before, a lot of those things, these people that we see, these youngsters that they see on TV, they just don't know just how intricate, you know what I'm saying, that game with USC and Alabama was. So you see, and even going into the business side of the sports, you know what I'm saying, what did you see that we kind of dropped the ball, and how do you feel that we can bring it back, you know what I'm saying, because sports guys are making a lot of money now, you know what I'm saying, you got some of that pension money too, but
OJ pension.
right. But tell us about that, Sam.
Well, you know, Dino's talking about a game I played in 1970, and it'll be 50 years on September 12, 2020, when that game occurred. Birmingham, Alabama, University of Southern California playing the University of Alabama. They had no white players, no black players on their team, except although they did have one in the program, and Wilbur Jackson. And so, but he was a freshman, and back then there was a freshman rule that you can't play varsity, and so anyway, and I tell people all the time, it's really just like strange that when I was in high school, I got a recruiting letter from the University of Alabama, but I'm not leaving Santa Barbara, California to go to Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Okay, just not, I'm not like the sharpest cat, but I know that wouldn't work. So, but then I end up playing in a game against them and having an impact on college football. That's just started out as a little drop, but ended up as a tsunami over time, you know what I mean? And so, and a lot of the kids this day, they just worry about their history. They don't worry about history.
Right.
You know what I mean? I come from a generation where we had so much history in that time. We had the Vietnam War. We put a man on the moon. Dr. King was assassinated. The 4 girls in the church were bombed and killed. So many things going on in that little cauldron of time, you know what I mean? And now, we got a madness now, but it ain't like that. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And the thing is that even though we went through all that, we still going through all that. Mm-hmm. So, and I tell people all the time, I say, yeah, I had a great game, but I wasn't by myself.
Right, that part.
Had a team. We had about 17 black players on our team. And then we had the white boys. Some of them were just as bad as the ones that we was getting ready to play. But because we, with teams, you have a hierarchy and a leadership thing, which you have here at the lounge. You have in your business, Darren. There's always people that take care of the people that don't really want to get in line. You know what I mean? And so that's how that game was. And it happened to be the first game because the team, that overall team that year only went 6-4-1. Wasn't a really good football team. It had really good talent, but we had some issues ourselves. So I'm not sure if we had played Alabama later in the season, we probably would have beat them, but it might have been tougher because Alabama never played anybody as tough as us in the preseason. They still don't. I mean, they're gonna play us next year, but we're not very good. So. Not next year. This fall.
Thank y'all for Coach Oda.
Oh yeah, I love Coach O. He's a hell of a man. So to get an opportunity to be part of something special is special because you go into the game not knowing what's gonna happen. You're gonna play, and I tell people all the time, I didn't even start that game. I was like the backup fullback. Wow. And it was my first year, sophomore year, my first year on varsity. And I was watching, I got the film put on DVD, the game put on DVD the other day, so I kind of watched it, right? And it didn't have any sound or anything, so you just it's a game film. And I was trying to figure out how I got in the game so early, and the starting fullback had illegal procedure move, and that got him out of there.
mistake.
Yeah, he made a mistake, and that's how it was. You know, I mean, and that's how it was in my house. You make a mistake, there's consequences.
Right.
You know what I mean? And old school coaches are like that. You make a mistake, you know, I'm gonna put the next one in, especially if he's as good or better than the first one. You know, so I get in. You know, and Alabama is a good program, but they were not as good as we were. They you know, there's some, how can I put this? They were like perky little white boys. They really wasn't up to us. We were stronger, faster, bigger, and after that game was over with, they understood that, and they saw the future. They saw the future. Now those people in the stands, it wasn't on TV. It was just on the radio. And it was just played for those people in the stands, those white folks in the stands to see it. And what I believe they saw is they didn't see white and black per se. They saw white and black players on our team getting along and playing. And therefore they knew it was possible.
Right.
You know, now whether they want to accept it or not is a different deal, but they saw it. And football is like religion now. You know that, you know, they shut everything down.
Right.
It ain't like it's not like out here.
Right.
You know, out here, well, I'm gonna go to the beach.
Right.
Yeah, I'm gonna go to Disneyland. You know, there's so many things to do, but down there, football is football.
That's it.
That's it. And so to get an opportunity to be a part of something like that is special because, you know, I just play football. That's all I did. I just play football, and I'm the oldest of four boys, so I just taught the other three do the same thing. You know, and my youngest brother, Randall Cunningham, he ended up playing with Philly and a few other teams, but he played quarterback like we taught him to play. You know, go get it. You know, go get it. And so that was, you know, we were raised that way. You know, when mom and them, you know, the very first team I was on was my family. You know,
That boy.
yeah, my family, and I learned how to take care of my brothers. Mom and dad were taking care of us, and then when we had relatives come through, everybody took care of each other. You know, we didn't have a whole lot. We didn't have nothing. You know, because Santa Barbara is pretty expensive now, and it was expensive then. You know, but I just kept chopping wood, and you know, like you said earlier, I was blessed with a skill. And the one thing I appreciate about LA Lounge, I talk to people, you know, a little bit here, a little bit there, and everybody got a story. Everybody got skill.
Yes.
I mean, sometimes the skill ain't the skill they thought they had.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
And so that's what interests me most about hanging out, being here, because, you know, everybody interacts. We all connected. We all connected in some way, shape, or form. Now, growing up in Santa Barbara, it was real diverse for me. I learned how to connect with a lot of different cultures. So when I go somewhere, you know, I ain't out of place.
Right.
You know what I mean? But I've been around people who didn't grow up like that, and they out of place to a certain extent. So my kids, I have two daughters, I taught them the same thing. I made sure everywhere I went, they went. And they understand the culture, they understand their daddy, they understand the history of their father. You know what I mean? And not so much when they were young, because I was just their daddy.
Right.
But as they got older, you know,
Significant.
yeah,
Daddy was.
oh yeah, they have real strong opinions.
Right.
Because we watched football together. They said, Dad, he don't know what he doing.
Right.
So anyway, it's, you know, I mean, I just love being a part of the game, you know, and the game is come a long way. It's a multi-billion-dollar business.
Yes.
And a lot of it's made on the backs of black African American players.
Correct.
For a long time, they were doing a disservice to us because they just give you the money and don't do anything to help you keep your money. Okay, and you know, it's not how much money you get, it's how much money you keep.
Correct.
and how you use it.
Right.
That in my mind, you know what I mean. And I mean, if you got $10, I mean, I seen people stretch $10 a long way.
Right.
You know, now $10 today is probably $100 bill. You know what I mean? Yeah, you know, I tell people all the time, I get $100 bill, I'm trying to keep it together. I don't break it because I can't put it back together.
Right.
You know, but it's such a, you know, the game is such big money, and it's still run by white folks.
Right.
I believe that a change is coming if we get a black owner,
Right.
a couple of black owners, not just one.
Right.
You know, I mean, because we can do this just as well as anybody else. You know, just like you said, Black Wall Street.
Right.
The Johnson family who had the hair care products and all that. You know, I mean, we see it all the time. We've seen it in the past, but I do believe that they have a desire to keep us fractured so that we don't be successful. And that's why it makes a place like LA Lounge very, very important, because cats can come in and they can, you know, you have all kinds of seminars and stuff, and people listen, and you know, some of us on the other side of it,
Right.
but some of us on that side of it,
Right.
and you come up and you use that to build your life on, and you know, help your family and whatnot, and it's all a team thing, because when you do get a family, it ain't just about you.
Right.
Okay, it ain't. I mean, everybody wish it was, but it isn't. You know what I mean? Because you know, so for me, being the oldest boy, I knew that early on, and so my desire was to be successful. I never knew I was going to play pro football. Never knew that. I mean, the true story of how I became a pro football player, I was at SC at the University of Southern California, and like some of the other players come back driving cars, money in their pocket, nice clothes. And so I'm looking at them, right? Because, you know, they all come back and show what they got. And I looked at one cat, I said, man, they paying you to play professional football? He goes, yeah. I said, oh, I can do this because I'm way better than you. So you know, you just kind of take it one step at a time, you know. But I mean, in this generation, some of these kids have been anointed as kids. And the hard part is when they get to that point and it doesn't work out. Then it makes it tough on the kids. It make it tough on the families, because the family's banking too.
Right.
You know, the family's banking, and you know, the one thing about my family, they wasn't banking on it. You know, they just kept on pushing. You know what I mean? But I also knew that if I ever did make it any kind of way, I was going to reach back and help them.
Right.
And that's the most important thing. You know, as here, we reach out and help people like the Christmas things, the toys and whatnot, and whatever else is going to come down the line. That's all very, very important.
Correct.
And it builds a strong community. I mean, it's slow, but if it's steady, it builds it. You know, and so to get a chance to be a part of something as historic as that game in Alabama, and to see college football now,
Right.
because what you see today is a direct result of that game.
Correct.
And it, I mean, I look at it and people say, well, don't you get upset? I said, I don't get upset. I just try it whenever I run across them, I educate them. And there's some players like Mark Ingram. He understands. He knows.
Right.
And he went to Alabama.
Yes.
You know, but they so concerned with what they doing now. As you get older, that's when you start marinating on stuff.
Right.
And thinking about how did we get where we get.
Right.
You know, and so, you know, I mean, it's just, you know, you write books, you try to get a movie, you try to do all that, and hopefully that will happen before I die. But if it don't, it should happen anyway.
Yes, indeed, man. That's a great story, Sound Alabama. That's why I say I'm blessed to be a part and be in your presence, and also get some wisdom from you as we go on, and things that you know that I don't know. But I'm glad to be able to have that resource. Right. So what we gonna do now is, as far as Darren, you being into a business now, also helping veterans, but also it's a business that we can reinstitute things, and goes pretty more on mental health and homelessness. But from that point, where do you see us going as a culture with the things that we're instituting down here, as far as what we call so-called the new Black Wall Street?
Well, one of the things that I mean, because my story is a perfect example of encouragement, prayers, and belief from other men in my ability to do great things.
Right. You know, there's some women that do too.
And there's some women that have encouraged me to say that, you know what, Darren, you've been doing it for other people. You've been making them money. You can start your own thing and do it towards your vision. And so I think that on a micro level, that you have supportive people. I read a book called The Greatest Miracle in the World, and it talked about dream stealers, right? You don't even know who they are. Matter of fact, dream stealers can be people who are close to you, right? They can be your family members, and you can have people that you rely on and trust in their experience or feeling speak negatively because of their own experiences, because of their own opinions of lack thereof of accomplishments that they did not accomplish. So because of their experience, they can sometimes neg you out and steal your dream because they didn't accomplish it, saying that you can't accomplish it. And the cold part about that is that these are sometimes people you trust in their guidance. So you never know who a dream stealer could be.
Right.
And I think when one has a vision or of something that they have a passion about, that they are surrounded by people who support that passion, however crazy it may sound. And what is so exciting about what we are doing here at LA Lounge, it was what you had mentioned about what we needed to do at our first meeting. And that was all of the members who came to the meeting mentioned what type of line of work that they did. If they had a small business, what was that? Whether it was laying tile, whether it was a photographer, whether it is whatever business that they are in, whatever passion, if they wanted to get into real estate. Some people have had jobs working for the county or working, for the government. But they wanted to become a real estate investor. They mentioned that at the membership meeting, and how what we were doing collectively to support each and everyone's endeavor. And so I find that on a micro level, going by those principles of what Black Wall Street was about, that if we support one another's business, however it is, if somebody is making jewelry in their garage, support them.
Right.
Rather than going to Macy's
Right.
and giving your money across to that lady at the counter for a triple up marked up product, right? That, we don't see. Going into other neighborhoods, going to other cities and spending our money, and it's not being reciprocated in our own community. My daughter started a cleaning business, and I first thought, cleaning business? I had dreams of you being a a sports therapist.
Your dreams.
Right.
You feel me? My dream.
Like Sam said, the family be banking.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? You didn't have scholarship money. You had some of my money paying for them books. You know? But you want to start a cleaning business. And it really did not take long for me to be impressed with the idea that she wanted to do her own thing. She wanted to do her own thing. And I actually had to I had to take some credit because she sees her dad being a hustler. She sees her dad being proactive in doing what he wants to do to following his vision. So she had to get it from somewhere.
Right.
She had to get it from somewhere. She didn't see in her dad's life that he pushed school so she could go work for somebody else.
Right.
She didn't see that. What she saw was that I worked for someone else, but at the same time I always pursued my dream.
Right.
Whether it was photography, whether it was real estate, whether it was selling water filters, whether it was selling air filters. These are all things that I pursue as an entrepreneur.
Like I said the first time, it's a man of many hats.
You know what I mean?
I just picked the one that I like.
You know, promoting events. You know, she saw all of these things that I did. Now, she knew that I was doing these things because I was creating my own path. And when I saw her create her logo, you know, man, I can't even, I think that's probably the most time I forwarded a post on Facebook ever. Right. Because I want everybody to see what my baby doing and use my baby's cleaning service. Because you don't want to clean, you know. So, yeah, so just in that aspect, I know that if my daughter can see the vision or understand that I have to create my own path and not build somebody else's steps, that we can do that collectively as black people to support one another. However weird the idea of what our passion is, that we could support whatever business, whatever venture, you know, that if you have the support, the right support, not a dream stealing support.
Right. That's an occupation also. Matter of fact, it's a business. Hating business.
Hating business. Yeah, they pay a lot of money for them. They pay a lot of money, you know what I mean? So, yeah, you know, I'm excited about this journey, you know, about where God has brought me. And sometimes I feel like, gosh, I'm doing this by myself or for myself, but I never realized that I'm doing it by myself. Really, yeah. And I'm doing it by myself, but I know that I have a lot of people support, you know. So I go through those times, but that's the journey, you know. That's the journey, because I always think of the idea of being self-propelled, self-employed, that if I was the boss, would I hire you? Would I hire me? So I think of that, you know, and you know, yeah, I would hire me. You know, I would hire me. So
yeah, I'd like to thank the first part of our panel for the information that they gave us and instilled upon our hearts that there is some positivity in your community. You just gotta look for it, and they're there.
Look, you just gotta be. You want to be a part of it.
That part.
You know, because I mean, you can look in all the wrong places.
Right.
But if you have, you know, if you're motivated to find something, you'll find it. Just like one of my philosophies is wherever I am is wherever I am.
Right.
And I came in here. I came in here when early on, and I felt comfortable then. And I didn't come in that often, but whenever I came in here, it was like being home. So, and that's the most important thing, because there's so many different ways of going about the same thing.
Right.
And if you just like you said, there's dream stealers, but also there's dreamers. And my mom and daddy used to tell me, man, ain't nothing wrong with dreaming because it might come true. And if it does, then you use it to help.
Yeah.
And that's the most important thing. Yeah, and that's what you guys are doing here. Right. That's what we're doing here. And help as much or as little as we can. I mean, a little bit helps a little bit, and then it eventually grows. And we all a part of that. And like I said, we all click, click, clack. We all related, And I mean, I come from Santa Barbara. You come from Louisiana.
I'm from LA.
Well, yeah, LA. My wife is from LA, and she goes to Santa Barbara. She says, "Wow, this is a strange place." I said, "Yeah, it is."
Once again, we'd like to thank y'all for tuning in to the Flyy Trap. We had a great time, great conversation today. And I want to thank again my guests on the panel, Sam the Bam Cunningham, Darren Hendon, and look for these guys in your city. They are approachable. Welcome back to the Flyy Trap. Dino, co-owner LA Lounge. In this segment of the panel, man, I got two great guys in. Two Fly's cats I know around this, the Gibsons, Elliot Gibson Sr. and Elliot Gibson Jr. Elliot Gibson, one of the first members that came around the LA Lounge. He is a day trading guru, I call him. He's teaching us at the lounge how to play the day trade, how to do the forexes, and he's actually instituting classes that we're going to start to help people do that thing also. We also have next to me, to my left side, this fly young cat, seed of the man to the right of me, it's Elliot Gibson Jr., who is the general manager of Cause Altier, Los Angeles, fly young cat, some of the cats, some of the things I see him in, I'm like, man, shucks, how you pulled that one off, God, it don't matter what age you are, you can always learn if you open up your mind. And to get back into segue back into our point, Black Wall Street with Elliot and I, we always talk about black businesses, how we're going to come together, how we're going to try to rebuild the community. And I say, try again. Hell, you're supposed to hit me with the elbow. Right. He knows a lot about Black Wall Street, and he's actually an intricate part in the Inglewood areas, bringing businesses back to this area for us to see that we can do this thing again and also be prosperous of it. So Elliot Gibson Sr., give him a little history about yourself as far as the LA Lounge, and how do you feel basically about, the reinstituting of Black Wall Street out here on the West Coast?
Well, number one, I grew up in Compton. My mother was disabled by the time I was 8. My father wasn't around. So it wasn't no real teaching that went on to what brought me to where I am today. Everything was pretty much learning on the job, teaching on the job. I played sports all my life, and I thought that was going to be my way to get an education. That's how I was going to get to college. That's how I was going to better my life. I went off to college, went to Texas, Prairie View A&M, and from there on, by being in the South, I learned a lot about where we really come from and the struggle that is put upon us. But it wasn't until I got a lot older that I really understood the magnitude of what it means to stick together as black folk. Now, the topic is Black Wall Street, and a lot of people don't know about the Tulsa riots. It was a situation that went on in Tulsa, Oklahoma, Greenwood, Tulsa, Oklahoma, And that's Greenwood, Archer, and Pine was those main streets that made up the Black Wall Street economics. Oh, a little side note. The Gap Band. GAP, Gap Band, that's Greenwich, Archer, and Pine. They're actually from that area, so their roots go deep into that. Their ancestors was part of all that Tulsa, Oklahoma riot. The black dollar circulated 150 times in that area. 150 times. That's big. 150 times that dollar circulated in that area before it left. Today, we go bankrupt every night because everyone in our neighborhood, not community, because we don't have a community right now, but in our neighborhood, we have other nationalities that's making money off of us during the day. And when they close shop, that money goes to their neighborhood and to their banks and to their structure and leave us bankrupt every night when their business closes. So what we're trying to do right now is trying to get those powernomics, that structure back amongst black folk where we're dealing with each other and we're dealing business with one another, and we're trying to make our dollar circulate like their dollar does. So my brother here, he's doing a great thing right now. I try to instill some of the things that I learned into my son, and then he could pass it on to his son. He passes it on to his son, and we come together as a community and not a neighborhood. Because the neighborhood is not where it's at. It's the community. We need to have doctors, lawyers, dentists, grocery store. Anything that you can spend your money on needs to be a black dollar spent. And when they spend their money to read to what do you call when they go out, when a fish store, if we have a fish store and it's black owned in the community, well, when we spend that money with them, they need to take that money and spend the money with a black fish distributor and get that fish from them in order for the dollar to circulate. Because if we take that dollar and we spend it with a black owned fish store, but they take that money and spend it with an Asian owned fish supplier, then the money leaves the community. So that's the main thing that we're lacking right now, because we're not staying together as a community. We're letting everyone come into the community and make money off of us. We're spending our money with everyone else but ourselves. Now, one thing that I can say that I guess it's a sentiment that's expressed across the black community is when there is a black owned business, they say that the price is too high. You know?
The ice ain't cold enough.
The ice ain't cold enough. White ice is better than colder than the black ice. But what you have to understand is that a lot of these black owned businesses, that's the only entity that they have. So the price is going to be higher because they don't buy in bulk, because they don't have a multiple amount of stores to where they get a better price. Exactly. So you have to support it. Regardless if the price is a little higher than the other one, you still have to support it, because as they grow and their business grow and then they expand and have multiple stores, then their price will lower. Their price will get lower. And you have to just learn how to just get dedicated to being black. Now, another thing that we fall into is that we go and fight everyone else's fight instead of understanding that the one thing that we do have, whether you're Christian, whether you're homosexual, whether you a midget, a humpback, stop fighting all the other causes. The main thing that we have together is that we're black. Let's fight this cause first. And once we accomplish this cause, then we can go step out and fight all the other causes. But at the end of the day, we are what's most important. And we need to really stick together. We need to come together and we need to support one another. No matter whether it's a cookie, whether it's a food truck, whether it's a skateboard, whether it's clothing like my son sells at his store, we have to stick together. And that's the only way that we're going to be able to accomplish the things that we need to accomplish. What is it, $1.3 trillion that black people have access to? That we spend a year. $1.3 trillion. Colombia, as a country, survives off of a third of that. We can run a whole country if we just really stick together and spend our money amongst each other and elevate each other and quit worrying about everybody else except us. And that's the whole concept with what went along with Tulsa, Oklahoma and Black Wall Street. They built their businesses, they spent their money amongst each other, and they made it happen. And that's what we need to do. We need to get back to that concept. We need to stop thinking that white ice is colder. You know, back before integration had came about, when we was fighting to sit on the front of a white bus, we had black buses where you could sit on the front, the middle, and the back. As soon as they decided that they wanted to let us sit in the front of the bus, we stopped sitting on the black bus and ran over here so we could sit on the front of a white bus. And then our black buses went out of business. We have to stop doing that. We have to learn a code of ethic and stay to ourselves, do business with ourselves, and come up together, and then we start doing business with everyone else. And that's the concept of Black Wall Street, bro.
Man, I think that was a beautiful explanation, and I got a lot out of it, you know what I'm saying, which also brings me back to our creed, the way things that we operate by down here at LA Lounge. I'm going to repeat that again. To gather a group of like-minded individuals that's dedicated to loyalty, commitment, respect, and unification with the mindset of economical progression for the ultimate goal of building our community. Now we're going to go on and talk to the younger half. We know coming up with the great ideas in the mind that your dad had coming up underneath him, it instilled nothing but an entrepreneur hustle in you. And I must say, brother, every time I see you fly, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I be thinking about giving up my name, you know what I'm saying? I'm saying I ain't fly no more, you know what I'm saying? They always say, like the Messiah said, greater works will ye do. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, this gentleman, man, even if you're talking about high end, if you want to have high end clothes, we provide those things also. You know what I'm saying? There's somebody in every lane. This gentleman works at one of the calls Altiers, you know what I'm saying, which sells high end clothes and also beautiful pieces of fashion, things that you won't see, unique pieces that you'll only have, just like the hat that he got on right here, which I'm gonna get this before the show is over. But we're gonna go ahead on. I'm gonna pass the mic to Mr. Elliot Gibson Jr. Let's tell his story from his generational standpoint and what Black Wall Street means, and you seeing us coming together and how that's actually inspiring you.
Oh man, thank you, Dino. Man, I really appreciate it. It's an honor and a pleasure to be here, especially speaking on behalf of my generation. Like Dino said, my name is Elliot Gibson Jr. I run Carl's Atelier, which is a black-owned business. We categorize our store as what you would call a retail gallery. So the concept of a retail gallery ultimately is a combination of different categories of art, whether it be, you know, oil paintings to antique and antiquities, as well as fashion, books, hats, even. So any dynamic really is what we work in, and we assort it in arrangement and arrange everything in an eclectic, beautiful blend that gives you an experience from the front of from the entrance to the door to the back of the store. So working in such an element and being around different inspirations, the energy, everything, it ties really deeply into, Black Wall Street and a lot of things that my dad instilled in me as a child. My main goal, right, when I think about the history and the future that I want for myself as well as my family, is to be able to introduce something to our communities that they've never seen before. You know what I mean? When you think about Black Wall Street, is the knowledge of the world, right? And it's all instilled in us as a community, right? I feel like a big thing about my generation and the knowledge that we're constantly being introduced to is filtered, right? Whether it be from the TV, watching movies or whatever, to the instant experience you have of your cell phone right in front of your hand. You know what I mean? We have a very short term of really attention, where we can go out and we can meet different people, we can meet old heads, and we can have we can really hear a lot of different things, right? But the problem is we immediately go back to our cell phone, right? We immediately go back to the Instagram, the Snapchat, the Twitter, and we're all of that knowledge that we picked up, it goes out the window, because now we're influenced by what we're seeing, and we want to get to this. We want to get to the Gucci, the Lamborghini. You know what I'm saying? The rap lifestyle, whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? There's no real passion for it. It's not important. We feel that has nothing to do with our everyday life. You know what I'm saying? It's not been knowing about Black Wall Street and what the fight that our people have made for us to be here today. That's not going to help me become whoever I want to be the next J. Cole or whatever, you know what I'm saying, or whoever, you know what I mean? So I feel like it's important as a parent. This is coming from being raised by my father. It's important that you resonate with your child in whatever he's doing, whatever they're interested in, he or she, whatever they're interested in. You know what I'm saying? If you see your child growing up and their thing is they love cars, or they love fashion or music, whatever, right? Is figure out, okay, so you love that, but did you know this African American blah 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 did this to pave the way for that person, or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Resonate, make it a thing where it's like, damn, it's important that. And the biggest thing is, as an African American, as a Black person in America, do you see the trends that we're setting? You know what I'm saying? Do you see we are good at everything? We are good at everything, man. In the amount of success that we have seen in every category of business. You know what I'm saying? From fashion influence to sports. Are you kidding me? Right. Before all of this was Jim Crow or whatever, where they didn't allow us to do this. Now we thankfully we have the benefit of being able to take part in that or whatever, but we're not taking advantage of what we of the influence that we have. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. It's really crazy. We're allowing ourselves to be controlled. We're allowing ourselves to have, as white business owners or whatever, or whoever, Asian, whatever, right? And we are driving their money. We are completely driving their money. You know what I'm saying? And what are we doing when we get their money? We've given it right back to them. We're giving it right back to them. You know what I'm saying? So we have to really think and sit down, come up with a game plan, because we have everything it takes. You know what I'm saying? We all know somebody that's black. You know what I'm saying? We all know somebody that's black that's doing something that ultimately could help your business or help you in your everyday life. You know what I'm saying? But the problem is when we think about, okay, I need this or I need that in order for my business to be successful, a black-owned business ain't the first thing that's gonna come to mind. You know what I'm saying? It's usually, I know Bill, he has this store, but whatever. You know what I'm saying? And instead of, just because it's closer or just because it's cheaper, or you know what I'm saying, instead of that, it's really the fact that you would take that dollar and invest it in a black-owned business that's gonna help you. Ultimately, that's gonna help you a lot further than going to the other side of town. You know what I'm saying? For just because it's cheaper. You know what I'm saying? Yep. There's a community. There's a lot more that we need to do in order to bring back the history, bring back the passion that we have of running a black community. You know what I'm saying? And it's all about making sure that we hit the key marks that makes it a passion for you. You know what I'm saying? It needs to be a part of it just as often as you go to your phone to look at whoever Instagram or look up, whoever Twitter or whatever. It needs to be, you need to be following the black people that still that take part in that same whatever you looking at. You know what I'm saying? Because the minute we make it a every minute process of being surrounded by our people, it'll be now that next time you think about, okay, now I gotta figure out what I gotta buy something for my business. Now that black owned business is gonna come. That's gonna be the first thing that come to your mind, because all you seeing is black superiority. You know what I'm saying? It's black passion. It's black everything. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like that's really what we missing right now. That's really what we missing, is being able to really tap into our mindset and take advantage of being black.
And the other part to that is, all the other nationalities, they don't apologize for sticking with one another. They deal business with one another. They have the code of ethics, and they look out for one another. It seems like, we're the only ones that try to be down with everybody, which is nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with that at all. I'm not saying, F them or F them. But we have to stick with ourselves first and grow as a community, as a race first, before we can branch off and start dealing with everyone else. I know you and we always talk about Claude Anderson and Dr. Boyce Watkins. Claude Anderson, he really hit it on the nose when he said that it's like a T, a capital T. Everyone else goes from that base of that capital T, and they rise up and they do what they need to do as far as a nationality or a race, and they make it all the way to the top of the T. That means they done peaked out as far as making money, dealing with one another, before they branch off into other directions and start dealing with everyone else. But us, we're like a small T, the line, and then the cross comes, and it still got some more to still go. And we start branching off to the left as soon as we think that we made it a little bit, and we start going off to the left and the right. And we never reach up to that top part and make it a capital T. We make it a small t. And it's something that's being processed in our DNA from the trauma and everything that went on with slavery, Jim Crow, for 400 years of being a suppressed people, that makes us conduct ourselves in a certain way. So now it's time to understand. Quit ignoring that. We all keep saying, "Oh, well, slavery was this, that, and the third," and that's not our lingo. That's everyone else's lingo that was guilty for what they done. That's their lingo, and they put it on us, and then we end up repeating what we hear from them like parrots. But at the end of the day, we really need to stop saying, forget about our history, forget about our past. Embrace that past, learn about that past in order for us to move forward in a better direction and a stronger unity as we move forward. Because as we move forward, if we keep staying on different paths, if we keep going there, keep going there, keep going there, we're not united, and everyone else is united. We sit in classrooms that's named after slave owners. George Washington High School. But you'll never see Jewish people sitting in the classroom or a school named after Adolf Hitler. You wouldn't see it. You never will see it. They make Jewish movies over and over again talking about the Holocaust, over and over again. But then you get black people on, and I don't want to say no names, but celebrities say, "I'm tired of seeing slave movies." How can you say that? You'll never hear a Jewish person say, "I'm tired of hearing Holocaust, hearing about the Holocaust, or seeing movies made about the Holocaust." You'll never see it. So we need to really forget about everybody else, pull together, dig down deep, and deal with one another with a code of ethics, and learn how to move forward so we can lift our race up and be part of the game. Because this is a live Monopoly game. This is a live Monopoly game. And if we continue to deal the way we do, we gonna go bankrupt, and we gonna be out the game while everybody else is still playing. They still playing, they still rolling the dice, they going to jail and paying $50 and going on park plays and free parking and everything, while we on the sideline watching. And until we understand that we really need to come together and really need to move with a code of ethics, and we really need to understand that education is good, but if you get a degree, that's only a tool to work for someone else. That's all that is. I'm not knocking a college education. I have a college education. I didn't press my son to go to college because at 18 he was making $50,000 a year. So I couldn't say, "Hey son, stop making $50,000 a year to go get a college education to work for someone else." You understand what I'm saying? So basically, we need to get in where we fit in amongst our community, come together, stop the nonsense, stop bashing each other, stop putting each other on Front Street, and try to work together so we can uplift one another to do what we're doing right here at LA Lounge. That's what we're doing. We're trying to put it together. We're doing the stars. Brother Aaron has a construction company. Me and him went out today and worked together, and that's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. the young lady selling the cookies and the cakes. You know, I know I'm supposed to be eating no cookies right now, but I had to buy the cookies, and I'm going to eat them. You know, though I don't supposed to, but I'm going to eat them. And I supported her because she has a good product. She's out here hustling, and we can't turn our nose on that. Because at the end of the day, I'll go to Ralph's, which is owned by Kroger's, and buy some cookies from them and dunk my cookies in the middle of the night with my children, and we sit back and laugh. But really, I'd rather buy cookies from her and dunk a black cookie. I wish we had some milk that was made for some black cows. You know, but anyway, at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. We need to stick together. We need to do what we need to do, and we need to stop acting as if we're free, because we're really not free. At the end of slavery, we was 1.5% of the nation's wealth. In 2020, we still 1.5% of the nation's wealth. That means we haven't grown as a race at all. Went from second class to third class because of integration. I mean, not integration, but when they come over the border, immigration. Immigration made us a third class citizen now. They haven't outpopulated us from being here in the United States and producing children, and outpopulated us. They outpopulated us from importing them in. That's the one thing that, if I had to say about Trump, talking about putting a mash on immigration, that's the one thing that I do agree with, because as everyone come in, they steady putting us further class. And if we couldn't get our issue as second class citizens, how are we gonna get our issue at third class or fourth class citizens? That's impossible. Impossible. So we need to start looking at, as a race, where we gonna end up for the future. We got to start making better decisions. We got to start putting, having insurance policies on our loved ones. How many times we see someone pass away and we doing GoFundMe to pay for the funeral? That's unheard of in everyone else's culture. That's unheard of. And as little as $15, $20 a month that you can have an insurance policy for when you do pass away, you can leave your kid $150,000, $200,000. You go out and buy that sack and smoke weed, $20 a day, $30 a day. Now we talking about $40 a month. The money that you spending on marijuana or liquor or any of those other things, if you spent that amount a month on an insurance policy, now you're talking about $1 million, $2 million policy when you pass away. You know, if I leave, they don't know it, because I don't want them to knock me off. But yeah, but I have that in place. You know, at the end of the day, you know, if I don't succeed at what I'm trying to do here while I'm alive, at least I get them a head start when I go. You know, so that part right there.
Man, that concludes a great show. Look forward to having more guests, but we're telling you, this is what we're doing at LA Lounge. These are the people that we're surrounding ourselves with. These are the people that we say we're going to make a change with. And we're all dedicated. We're all loyal. We're all committed. We respect each other, and we're unified because of love. And if you want to be a part of that, come on down. Even if you're not from LA, when you come to LA, come sit down and talk to us. Come have a conversation, you know? And just want to go on and close out that way. Thank everybody, the Gibson Jr., Gibson Sr., for taking your time out and letting us know about our plight and what we plan on doing down here. And in closing, I just want to leave you guys with a couple of words. You are a minority, not because of your race, not because of your gender. You're a minority because the majority of people lack courage. And instead of admitting that they're petrified, they rather ridicule or make negative remarks about your courageous acts. Develop courage. Y'all think about it. You dig?